Welcome back to On the Rise for week 2 of Canadians of the Week, breaking down the top 3 Canadian performance of the previous week. And we're going to jump straight into number 3 and my third Canadian performance of the week, which comes from La Liga in Kyle Larin, who had a very good performance on the weekend against Real Sociedad as he got the start for Mallorca as well as the opening goal in a 2-0 victory for Mallorca against Real Sociedad, which also elevates Mallorca into 8th place, one spot above Real Sociedad in La Liga. But that's not the most important part. What's very exciting is now Mallorca sits only 5 points off of 6th place, which would give them European football, which is very exciting for Kyle Larin as well as Mallorca, because getting European football for a club like Mallorca would be massive. It would be a huge get for the La Liga side as well as Kyle Larin. Getting as many Canadians in European competitions, no matter the level, is always huge for Canadian soccer. As well, Kyle Larin managed to score his first goal in 9 games. Ending a 9-game goalless drought for the Canadian was very important because Kyle Larin needed a goal. With so many Canadians on form, playing very well and scoring and playing at the best of their abilities, whether it's Jason Russell-Rowe, Tani Oluwase, or even Promise David and Jonathan David, our strikers have been flying. So Kyle Larin getting back on the goal sheet and scoring for the first time in 9 games was very important for the Canadian veteran striker, as well doing it in La Liga. But it wasn't just a goal-scoring performance for Kyle Larin, he had a good performance all around, as he finished on a 7.2 rating for the 29-year-old Canadian striker, going 79 minutes and scoring his only shot of the entire game. 9 for 13 accurate passes on a 0.0 9 xG, which is truly incredible and shows how well Kyle Larin can be clinical when having the chance. 28 touches, 1 pass into the final third, and was the most player throughout the match to lose duels, as Kyle Larin lost the most duels in the match with 12, but as we know, Kyle Larin is a striker, a true clinical finisher, and he showed that for Mallorca by opening the scoring in their match against Real Sociedad and helping them jump up the table to make European football and continue to make European football a realistic target and aim for Mallorca in La Liga with their 2-0 victory over Real Sociedad. But moving into my second Canadian performance of the week, which was a very exciting one and which brings a lot of topic and conversation, and it comes from the MLS. And it comes from Portland Timbers in their goalkeeper in James Pantemis, as James Pantemis, of course, is having a great season, and he continues to do that with Portland Timbers, as he had a game which saw Portland Timbers win 4-2. He saved a penalty, played very well, and his performance helped them earn a 4-2 win over Sporting Kansas City. But that now puts Portland in 4th place, and we now have Vancouver in 1st in the Western Conference, Minnesota United's Tani Oluwase and Dane St. Clair in 2nd, and James Pantemis, Kamal Miller, Maxime Crepeau in 4th place. And that's all down to James Pantemis and how good he has been in goal for Portland Timbers. And there's serious conversations now about him getting a call-up for this Canadian side, as he finished on an 8.2 rating, but he also saved a penalty. Playing very well, yes, he conceded 2, but saving penalties, he is now becoming a very good shot stopper at keeping penalties out of the back of the net. It is now his 3rd penalty save throughout the MLS season and a very early MLS season. And at 28 years old, he still has experience and he's finally hitting his form. And goalkeepers, they come into their form later in their years. Like I've always said, late 20s, early 30s, goalkeepers hit their prime. And James Pantemis is finally getting backed by a manager. He finally has that confidence, the belief, and the support. And he is showing that on the pitch, and he is looking very good on a weekly basis for this Portland Timbers side, who look very good with a strong, confident goalkeeper in net. And the controversy also happens with Maxime Crepeau, who is now being relegated onto the bench with this Portland Timbers side, and that comes from a Canadian goalkeeper. And there's that Canadian goalkeeper battle at Portland, and I'll make a long-term video on that and a more in-depth video on that goalkeeper battle, but it is extremely exciting to see James Pantemis and how well he is playing. Statistically, one penalty save, which was the key highlight for Pantemis. He made 4 saves, conceded 2 goals, passing wise very well as well, having 22 for 29 accurate passes for a 76%. Long ball wise was not great, 5 for 12, 1 diving save, 4 saves inside the box, as well as 1 punch, 6 throws, 1 high claim, and 45 touches. It was an incredible performance from James Pantemis, and he is truly proving why he probably should be on the radar or getting a call-up for the Canadian Gold Cup coming up in June, which would be very exciting for James Pantemis to work his way into the Canadian squad. And right now, he is truly proving that with that 4-2 win for Portland Timbers over Sporting KC. Well, moving on to my honorable mention of the week. As there was a lot of good performances to choose from, I had to settle on Alistair Johnston. Alistair Johnston becomes my honorable mention of the week, as his Celtic side went on to beat Kilmarnock 5-1 with an incredible performance from Alistair Johnston as well as their back line, as Alistair Johnston managed to pick up an assist throughout this match. But it wasn't just there, as the entire back line for Celtic had an incredible performance. From 5 goals, they had 3 assists and 1 goal on that back line. An incredible strike from the US Métis International and Cameron Carter-Vickers. But Alistair Johnston had a very good assist, went 76 minutes, and a very good performance as he had an 8-match rating and continues to move the side further up the table, as Celtic now finish and are sitting on 81 points through 33 matches, as Rangers are in second place on 66. Celtic have this league all locked up, and Alistair Johnston is going to continue to add another trophy to his mantelpiece. But going 76 minutes, having an 8-match rating, getting an assist, 87 for 93 accurate passes, creating 1 chance, which was obviously put away, 109 touches, Alistair Johnston showed his quality and continues to do so for Celtic as they won 5-1 over Kilmarnock. But my number 1 Canadian performance of the week, who continues to play at an extremely high level and is deserved of a start and a lot of minutes at the Gold Cup, is Union Saint-Gilloise' Promise David, who will be featuring in these videos, I'm sure, a lot, as Promise David scored once again for Union Saint-Gilloise as they look to push for the title in the Jupiler Pro League in Belgium, as he opened the scoring for Union Saint-Gilloise in their 2-0 victory over Anderlecht, as he scored in the 45th minute, but more importantly, gets them 3 points back of first place, as they sit in 3rd place in the split in the Jupiler Pro League, as they're on 33 matches played, 37 points, as that split and the halving of their points happened, but they are now 3 points behind Genk, who are in first on 40 points, as they did lose to Club Brugge during the weekend, as that puts Club Brugge on 39 points and Union Saint-Gilloise on 37. That top 3 race is absolutely heating up, but we could see Promise David lift the title in Belgium in his first year there and being basically the sole reason for carrying this team to the finish line, as they currently sit on 59 goals, and Promise David has been a huge reason for that. His attacking power, his excitement in the final third, his clinical finishing, and his ability to make something out of nothing is truly incredible, and he showed it once again for Union Saint-Gilloise against Anderlecht, as he had a very good performance going 74 minutes, getting on the score sheet from 2 shots, scoring on 1 of his chances, going 5 for 9 accurate passing wise, creating 1 chance, scoring on 0.17 xG. As well, defensively, we can highlight it, was fouled 2 times, had 2 defensive actions, 3 recoveries as well. It was a great performance from Promise David, as he also earned Player of the Month for Union Saint-Gilloise. It truly shows his quality, and the fact he got named Player of the Month for Union Saint-Gilloise on the back of a major win against Anderlecht, it was only fitting he was Canadian Player of the Week, as it was a very exciting week once again for Canadians, getting on the score sheet, keeping out penalty shots, and having good all-around performances. We have to shout out players like Matteo Di Brienne having a great start for Gaish out in Sweden, as well players like Arabine Peppel getting on the score sheet, and also others like Thiago Coimbra in the CPL. It was a great week for Canadians, and there were so many players to choose from, which I absolutely love. But those are my top 3 guys. Kyle Larin, James Pantemis, Promise David, and an honorable mention of Alistair Johnston. It's been an exciting week for Canadians. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Would you have had somebody else in your top 3? Would Alistair Johnston been in your top 3? Let me know your thoughts on my list, as well as give me your guys's. Drop a comment, smash that like button, guys. It helps out the video as well as the channel. Smash that sub button. Let's continue to move to 650 subscribers. The support is absolutely incredible and I truly appreciate it. But I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.